Hi, everyone. I'm going to take this moment to show off the exquisite work I did on this very, very difficult puzzle. This is one of those puzzles that the colors are so close to each other and they're in such different places that it was a real struggle to put this thing together. In fact, Melanie just gave up after a while. She got her own little kids puzzle to put together. But I stayed with this thing and I worked on it and I worked on it and I worked on it. And wouldn't you know, there's one doggone piece missing. I don't know where that is, but boy, that's frustrating. Anyway, I don't want to digress. The reason I'm showing you this puzzle is because I don't normally do puzzles. I love to do them, but I don't normally do them because they really suck up a lot of my time. Sometimes when I've found the most joy doing them has been when I've been stuck in the house because of inclement weather or something like that. Then we pull out the puzzles and we do them, and it's great then. But normally I don't like to have one there because it just sucks all my time. Well, guess what? I have some time now. And I'm sure a lot of you have time. And I've seen that some of you have posted pictures on Facebook and other social media that shows you doing puzzles because we have time. And you know, I was thinking about that idea of time and what a gift this time could be for us because we are being given time. You see, there was more than one moment in my life when I prayed that God would provide for me time. I need more time to read. I need more time to study. I need more time to relax at home with my family. I need more time. Well, now I have it, and I wonder, what are we doing with our time? Are we using it wisely? Are we letting it pass? Are we lamenting the time that we have? You see, time is a precious commodity, and time changes depending on what it is that we find ourselves doing. So I thought of that passage that is pretty well known to us, mainly, I think, because the Byrds wrote a song using these words as their lyrics. But they are a really intriguing passage of Scripture. It comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 3, beginning right there at the first verse. I just want to read this and tell you one of the things that my mind was drawn to as I considered this passage this week. It goes like this: For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. You know, the thing about that passage is there was always a couple in there that I struggled with. This idea of a time to love and a time to hate. You know, I always struggled with that, but then I realized, there are things, injustice, for example, that we should hate. We should dislike injustice to such a way that we need to hate it. A time for war and a time for peace, that's one that always bothered me too, because I think we sometimes move too fast to these times of war. And so that one always kind of bothered me, but, I understood that one. The one that says a time to kill and a time to heal, that's still one that I am not sure about. Maybe we can think of it in terms of a time to kill this daggum virus and a time to heal the virus. I don't know, maybe that's stretching what the author of Ecclesiastes was thinking. But let me tell you the one that suddenly became for me the most profound in this list of time. The one that says a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. I never thought about that verse the way I'm thinking about that verse right now. I mean, a time to embrace, we all know that everybody needs a hug. Everybody needs someone to reach out and touch them and give them an embrace. We all can understand that that time for embracing, but a time to cease from embracing, how can that ever be good? Well, you know what we're finding is maybe this is the time to refrain from embracing. It's sad and it's hard and it's not something we enjoy, but maybe now, as acts of compassion, it's time for us to refrain from embracing. You know, I was reading that many people right now may carry the virus but not have any signs of it. And that show of strength, this idea that we're strong and we don't have it, can be very misleading. And so we might be uncareful about our actions. And yet, to be able to refrain from embracing as a sign of compassion had never been something I had ever considered until we faced this. You know, it's amazing to me how in different contexts Scripture can continue to come alive. And this is perhaps, for me at least, one of the ways that Scripture has come alive for me. So there is a time for every season and a time for every matter under heaven. And perhaps now is the time for us to refrain from embracing so that when we can embrace again, that time is even more precious and more valuable. So for me, there was a time to put this puzzle together, and now, sadly, there's going to be a time for me to take this puzzle apart, and that's okay. Maybe I've got another one down in the basement that I can do now. But you know what? The most important thing I'm going to do is value the time that God has given me. So, enjoy your time. Find a way to value that time and ask God to fill that time with His presence. Thanks for listening. Go in peace.